The Honourable Member for Karamui, Nomani.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I intend to raise, there is a question to the Minister for Foreign Affairs during question time, but due to time limitations.
Honourable Member, sorry for interrupting you. I'd just like to make a statement here to Honourable Members. I'm always being on the chair and observe what is always happening in the floor of Parliament on Fridays when we come to grievance debate. It is a very important time for a member to express what he feels to express to the House. So when it comes to any point that you want to raise a point of order, remember that that member has his right to express what he felt. So don't unnecessarily interject by bringing up point of order which will disturb the member when he speaks. And secondly, when you are given a chance to speak to the floor of Parliament, don't leave the House when you finish and let others to listen to others. You have to sit and listen to others also raise their grievances. So, Honourable Member, you can continue your debate.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I think all of us are aware. Lately, the U.S. State Department has placed PNG on what is called a visa bond program. PNG is among 12 other countries that is subject to an imposition of $15,000 US dollars on a visa to travel to the USA, as announced by the U.S. State Department. And Mr. Speaker, as we are all aware, a lot of our citizens are working and studying in the USA. I don't know if that imposition of fees is retrospective or it applies to new visas. And I received a call this morning from one of my students who is intending to apply under the Education Department STEM program to go and study in the US. And going at the current exchange rate, $15,000 is equivalent to about, US dollars would be about, in Papua New Guinea, equivalent would be about $50,000, $60,000 around there, Kina around there. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, that is a hell of money. And as to why the U.S. State Department placed our country among the other 12 countries on that visa bond program, that is a matter within the knowledge and the right of the U.S. government. But the conscience that I have, and perhaps a lot of you leaders here will have, and our people will have, is that for our citizens who travel to the USA from the time of the issuance of that notice, it will become very difficult to obtain a US visa. As to the class or the nature of the visa, that's a matter for the good Minister for Foreign Affairs to ascertain with his department secretary and counterpart in the US. Because if that restriction or ban applies, it will have devastating effect on a lot of our young people and a lot of our citizens who intend to travel to the USA under a US visa. As I've said, 15,000 US dollars, equivalent to 50 or 60,000 Kina, is a lot of money by any standard. And at this stage, I don't know. I'm not privy to, but I don't know whether our government, through the Department of Foreign Affairs, has any bilateral relationship with or agreement with the United States that some form of special considerations can be granted to especially students, our students who wants to go and study in colleges and universities in the United States. And that's something that the good minister and our government can take it up at that level. Also, maybe when at a proper time, the good minister can also inform this House, maybe on the next sitting of Parliament, as to the restriction, the class of visas that restriction applies, and what are the avenues that are available to our citizens if they intend to apply for a U.S. travel visa, either it's business, study, or any other form of visa to the United States. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Abao.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for according me again an opportunity to express some concerns. And I'm thankful that the Prime Minister is here. I was wishing that the Minister for Provincial Affairs was here and Minister for Planning. I want to raise two issues in this debate. First one is in response to the Honorable Governor for Manus. He asked a question to the Prime Minister with regards to the work that the urgent work that the Electoral Boundaries Commission should do to address this issue where Manus only has one electorate with two leaders and two CEOs. And therefore, he expressed that the C area is very, very big, and therefore the need for Manus to have an extra electorate. I also see and a small population. I also noted that before the LLG elections, many new LLGs and many new wards were created. And so this mindset of asking for more electorates, more LLGs, more wards, I think as a parliament, we really need to look at it seriously. And my question is increasing more LLGs, more wards, and more electorates the right way to go for this country going forward in the next 50 years? Or should we stop and rethink the approach we need to? And so I want to offer a suggestion. Hopefully the Prime Minister and his executive team can process, particularly through the treasurer, as well as the Minister for Provincial Governments and Local Level Governments. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is a body established called the National Economic Fiscal Commission. When that body was established, one of its core functions was to establish minimum standards of service delivery in this country. And therefore, the National Monitoring Authority was established, now taken over by Plasma. The reason why it was established was that the agencies of state, their departmental heads and their ministers would then come back with the minimum standards of service delivery, and unit costing would then be the determining factor for the allocating of resources through the budget process. However, because of politics, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have been plucking off figures from the air without proper evidence. For example, we came up with a 10 million DSIP program, and then another 5 million infrastructure program, and another 5 million Kina for Kina program. And so we've been guessing all the time. However, the entity that the state established by law, called the National Economic Fiscal Commission, has not been allowed to come back through the Office of the Treasury, and I understand NEFC reports to the Treasurer. And so, for example, in my argument and my proposal today, Manus, it has a vast sea mesh like other maritime provinces. Oh, sorry, it's packed under the minister.
Honourable Member, point of order.
Oh, no, thank you. I just want to correct the honorable member for above that the NEFC comes under the Ministry for Rural and Economic Development, not the Treasury. Thank you.
Thank you. Point of order is in order.
Minister, it used to be under Treasurer, but I'm glad that I've been corrected. So it's now under the Ministry of Rural Development and Implementation. And I hope, I'm glad that the minister is here as well. And so my argument with the vast sea mass and a small population, I believe the response is not creating more electorates or more LLGs, but the response is we must now go back to the minister, now responsible for the National Economic Fiscal Commission, and ask the question for Manus to effectively save its people through the vast sea mess. How much does a drum of Zoom cost in Manus in order to maintain services through its atolls? And then we come back and say Manus should receive not 10 million fixed budget that like what we do, but according to its mass area, sea mass. And therefore, the budget should therefore be appropriated. Rather than us creating too many politicians, too many wards, LLGs, and therefore separating ourselves, that ward belongs there, district belongs there, so we don't talk to each other. I think this is, to me, not the way to go. So I strongly urge the minister now responsible to undertake this important activity and come and advise the parliament. For the health sector, these are the minimum standards. For education sector, law and order, agriculture, infrastructure, province by province, maritime provinces, urban electorates, highlands provinces, electorates where no roads are covering the entire electorates. I think we really should move that way, rather than coming and asking the Electoral Boundaries Commission, which does its job every 10 years, and then try and fight for more electorates, because the more electorates you have, your province or district has more funding. I think this more money culture mindset, we have to slow it down because the resources are limited. We cannot keep on increasing our appetite for unending amount of resources. No. We cannot keep on expanding the budget. 2027 was promised to be a balanced budget, no more excess, no more loans. So we have to learn to live within our means, but we also have to protect our people with regards to what is the minimum number that Manus as a province and as a district needs in order to save its population, many of them out there in the atoll. So I thought, Deputy Speaker, that's the point I really want to emphasize. I think we must stop creating more electorates, more politicians, and then next time we'll be asking to expand the chamber because we don't have enough seats. I don't think that's the way to go. Second point, Deputy Speaker. What is the lesson? The question I want to pose in this grievance debate is, what is the lesson that the country should pick up from the Bougainville experience? To me, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we must answer this question as a country, 50 years putting us behind now, next 50 years. What are the things that we must pick up as a country learning from Bougainville? My take, the country must at all costs be always united. The late Grand Chief, the Honorable Sir Michael Thomas Somare, put together a nation of over 800 different tribes. He fought for it until we put him to rest 3 years ago. That dream cannot be thrown away. We must remain all the time as a united country. Therefore, what do we do in order for us, as diverse as we are, to remain a united country? Lessons from Bougainville. One, for example, our resource laws, and I commend the Honorable Prime Minister for picking this up. We must negotiate for more take from our resources rather than less. That's a direction we must go. So our negotiating teams must sit down with the global powerful corporate entities in their boardrooms, and we negotiate so that the bulk of the benefit comes to Papua New Guinea, going to the provinces, the local level governments and districts, and the landowners. That's a direction, that's a cry from Panguna before it exploded into a 10-year crisis. And so that's the direction we have to maintain. Second.
Honorable Member for
my
about
time is up.
Your 10 minutes has
Okay.
lapsed.
I just want to end one grievance debate apart from the 2 points, and that is, Deputy Speaker, every time we always ask for extension of question time. It's about time we increase question time from 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Thank you.